So welcome everybody to Anfield for the latest edition of the Gary Neville Podcast, off the back of what, even on the 1st of December, feels like a mammoth football result. Gary, Liverpool have beaten Manchester City. They've left them 11 points behind, 25 to play. Where are we at?
I mean, a completely different position than we thought we would be at the start of the season. A completely different position than we thought we would be probably about 6 to 8 weeks ago. It's incredible what's happened to Manchester City. And Liverpool have been so smooth. It's gone from being a very good start to putting in real high-quality, authoritative performances that are looking really dangerous when you think of a Premier League title. To be 11 points clear of Manchester City, 9 points clear of Arsenal, I said at the end of the game, it's dreamland for Liverpool, for Arne Slot. And with that, and I don't think they'll mind it because I think they've got good experience in the dressing room, it comes a level of pressure now that now there'll be an expectance that they will win the title. It'll change from sort of Liverpool the favourites to, hang on a minute, you're 11 points clear. I've won titles from teams who've been 11, 12 points clear, and I've lost titles from being 11 points clear back in 98 when Arsenal, I think we were 11 points in front of Arsenal at one point. So I know how that feels, but there will be a slightly different mentality. But it's a big week for Liverpool. It started really well for them. We'll come on to their performance, I'm sure. But they've also got Newcastle away on Wednesday. I think they've got the Merseyside derby next week as well away at Everton, at Goodison Park. I think the last ever one at Goodison Park. So that'll be quite special. So there's a job still to do. I don't think it's a time to get carried away, and there's many points to play for. But that was a brilliant performance. I said during the game, the first half an hour, first 25 minutes, they were electric. They were like a rash. They were all over Manchester City, heavy metal football. Then they sat back and City got a little bit of control, and they sort of, if you like, just played a little bit on the counter-attack, and they continued to do that after the break, but looked equally in control. And you've got a really good side when you can be in control of a game when you're playing well, and in control of a game when you're not in possession and you're not got the ball and the other team are playing well. And that's what they have at this moment in time. Virgil van Dijk, apart from the 83rd minute little, shall we say, mess up that he did, which I called on a minute before, he was unbelievable. He was a giant back there, wasn't he? And he holds the whole team together. But it was a big day. I thought Liverpool would win today. City have been awful. They looked beaten. And we'll come on to City as well, but I thought the team selection of Pep Guardiola, I mean, we can say he's a genius, he's amazing, he's one of the greatest managers of all time, and say, I don't think he got it right, without being disrespectful, just an observation. We saw Rico Lewis play in front of Kyle Walker last week against Tottenham, it didn't work. How was Nunez going to work on this left-hand side in a flat midfield four? Again, it didn't work. And he substituted them both after an hour, so it's obvious it didn't work. So there were things that were wrong for City from the very start of the game. I was amazed how they set up. But today, Liverpool become huge title favourites.
This word control's really interesting. You can speak from experience on this, certainly. From a Liverpool perspective, the week they've had, where you play on Wednesday, the biggest game imaginable. There's nothing bigger than a home Champions League game against Real Madrid, and you have to do that thing. Come in and believe you're going to give everything. And then you come back the next morning and think, actually, the next game's the biggest game imaginable. And to play it, presumably with some emotion, but still with that degree of control is quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they're in a really good moment. I just say, just the calmness, a composure to them. But there's a ferocity and a work ethic. You know, they've got the real blend and balance of everything that you would want in a good football team at this moment in time. And when you talk about control, there are sometimes in a football match where a team are attacking you and you're all behind the ball and you're in your shape and you've got real focus and concentration that you don't feel like they're ever going to score. And that's how I felt Liverpool were in this game. And we saw the expected goals. Whether you like it or not, it does tell us the quality of the chances that City had created. I think it was 0.23 and Liverpool were at 2.54. It was a proper battering that. They've been mauled here today, Manchester City. And I've seen them have some really difficult games. I think I've been every one of Pep Guardiola's games here at Anfield, I think I've done. And they've had some bad experiences here. But I think that was the worst today because they were never in the game. I've always felt City could be in the game here. I know it's a challenging place to come. And they've had some moments where they blew it here and it's sort of fallen away from them. I think the only time they've won here in the last 21 years has been in the COVID season without fans. So they don't handle this stadium well. And that means they've got to change something. So when I was really surprised at the very beginning of the game, but Liverpool, they dominated it. It was an absolute mauling. They were in complete control. And you won't see a more comfortable victory against Manchester City. I actually thought City And we were at the game last week against Tottenham when they lose 4-0, and that's bad. But when you go 3-0 up at home, even though it's a draw, and because you can see the 3, it's even worse. You come off that pitch absolutely demoralised. And we hit a point of post-treble. I didn't think they'd win the league last year, so it was sensational for what they did last year, winning the league, be able to get up again. And we won the league the year after the treble, and we won the league the year after that. But then we hit a wall. We'd played so many games together. You've run a million miles, and this team, they've run their race together at this moment in time. They really have run the race.
I'm really interested in that, Gary, because it's hard during the game. I tried to push you on it. It's tough, but all of us, certainly those of us who haven't played anything like high-level sport, maybe don't appreciate that. And I ask you the simple but very tough question, why? Why, a month and a half ago, Manchester City are 14 games unbeaten, and we're all going, same again, and then, bosh, they're not. Why?
It can be the flick of a switch. Something can change. Obviously, the Rodri will keep on mentioning it until the cows come home, I think. But then all of a sudden, the weariness, the fatigue, you get a couple of bad results, then the confidence starts to go. And from weariness, fatigue, losing players, injuries, confidence, belief, and before you know it, everything looks like it's gone. And that's why I don't think anybody at this moment in time is really ploughing into Pep Guardiola or Manchester City. These are proven serial winners. These guys that we're watching out on the pitch in those blue shirts today don't have anything to prove in respect to the fact they've got 5 and 6 Premier League titles, some of them. They've proven they are champion players. So it's not a case of, they're out there, they've got a new contract and they're not doing well and they're not, they're sort of, if you like, they're not believing in the manager anymore, or they're not believing in the club, or they're not working as hard as they used to. None of that. I wouldn't say any of that about them. There just comes a point where you've climbed mountain after mountain after mountain, and it just hits you, and that's what's happening. We're just seeing a group of players who just, at this moment in time, can't do any more than what they're doing, and it looks humbling. They look so vulnerable. They look broken out on the pitch. The defenders are broken. The midfield players look weak. They look like they're being overrun, outworked. The forwards, to be fair, don't look like they're ever going to score. I know that's taking it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? They just don't look as dangerous. The patterns that we've always seen in City have gone. And Pep Guardiola's built 2 sensational football teams whilst he's been at the club. And he's going to have to go and build a third. Now, that doesn't mean rebuild as in, change 10 players. You're talking probably 2 or 3, 4 players max in and 2 or 3, 4 players out. They only usually use about 16 to 18 players, City. So you talk about changing a quarter of your squad and in and out. And there are a couple of things that are interesting. The De Bruyne thing is unusual, bizarre, strange. Why is probably the best player that the Premier League has had in the last 10 years. Why is he not out there? We know he's had injuries, but why is he not out there? Because he's a leader, he's got authority, he's got confidence, he's got brilliance. So something's going on. Something's definitely going on in the dressing room. There's something happening. But Pep Guardiola's got control. He's got complete control of the club. He's extended his contract. And I think he's probably waiting for that January transfer window and the the June-July transfer window for it to get to a point whereby he can rebuild and shape a new team in the next couple of seasons. And you saw him at the end there with the 6 up. Sorry, that's 5. That's 6. I quite like it. I think that people may say, look, Pep's sort of snapped. Someone came in my ear actually whilst he was doing it. It's very Jose-esque. But actually, he's entitled to smirk. He's entitled to say, we've won 6. He's entitled to sort of, he's sucking on the lemon, as it were, tonight. He'll not feel great about it, but he's got to a point where he realised, right, okay, I'm here. I've got to take my hits. I'm getting a clip round the ear type thing in front of everybody. And he has to pull his way out of it. And I'm sure he'll be thinking already about how he moulds a new team. Firstly, he'll be thinking about how. I said last week, can they from this win a Premier League title? I don't think they can. And I said last week after the game, this would be Pep Guardiola's greatest ever title if they won it. If they won it after today, it would be beyond ridiculous if they were to win it from being 11 points clear. It would mean Liverpool would have had to have completely folded and City will have had to have arrested this, what looks like a decline of this team at this moment in time.
It's probably only right to finish this game on Liverpool since they're the ones flying away. When I was thinking about it earlier around Arne Slot, words like honeymoon kept coming into my mind.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought, actually, it's gone beyond the honeymoon now. I mean, nobody has a
Oh,
honeymoon that lasts from August till December, do they? Uh, you know, they lost to Nottingham Forest, but that apart, they just haven't had a blip at all.
honestly, it's an unbelievable performance from Liverpool. Everybody, I don't just Arne Slot, obviously, but the people who have appointed him, the people who've created the stability, the players most of all, in the sense of getting behind him, because it would have been very easy for those players just to have seen Jurgen Klopp leave, their mentor for many, many years. They've done so much together, and just go, new manager coming in, I'm not quite having this. And honestly, it's really incredible what we're watching. None of us expected it. I think Liverpool fans expected it. They may have expected them to finish in the top 4, but it's absolutely brilliant what Arne Slot's done, and it gets really serious now in the sense of the fact that it's gone from being honeymoon period, great start, oh, could Liverpool win the title a few weeks ago, to, hang on a minute, now there's a real expectation. I don't know what the odds are, but they'll be very, very, very strong favourites. 9 points clear of Arsenal, 11 points clear of Manchester City, and there's still 4 or 5 months to go. I mean, the title race doesn't start till April. Never. So we're in December, just early December. So it seems crazy. These are unusual things for me to be able to say, because I would never ordinarily say it. And I'm not saying Liverpool are going to win the league. I still think there's a long way to go. But there is no doubt that now there'll be an expectation from 11 points clear. I think no team has ever lost it from this position. I think was that a team who started as strongly, someone said last week, has never not won the league from this position. So you're talking about history sort of being on your side here if you're Arne Slot, if you're Liverpool. And I wouldn't ever sit here and say, oh, if they don't win it from this position, they'll have bottled it. 'Cause I don't believe that'll be the case. I think they will have a difficult patch at some point in the season, and they'll drop points. And it's up to whether the others, Arsenal, City, can resurrect themselves and get on a run whereby, Arsenal have got to go and win 4, 5, 6 games on the bounce here. They've got winnable games, but they've got Manchester United, I think, on Wednesday. They've got Fulham away next week, and they've got teams that are in the bottom half of the table. I think United have gone into the top half today. But they've got teams that are in the bottom half of the table, Arsenal. If they win 5 or 6 games and Liverpool just draw 2 games, they're within 5 points all of a sudden. And that's not Liverpool bottling it. It's just the fact you've drawn 2 games. So there's a long way to go, but the others have got some real hard work to do. Yeah. They've got some real hard work to do, because at this moment in time, Liverpool have to lose 4 games and City win every single game for them to win the title. And that's not looking realistic.
So let's do the other contenders. You watched Arsenal last night at West Ham in a crazy football match. I mean, I don't have a question better to ask you than to what extent do you feel they're still in it?
Oh, I think Arsenal's still in it, definitely. Yeah. And Liverpool, I think Arne Slot will be saying that Arsenal are still in it. And they'll be saying that City is still in it. But what bugged me about Arsenal's game last night, and it'll bug Mikel Arteta, he was furious before half-time. You don't know if you saw his face. He was so angry when they conceded those 2 goals, because they'd been absolutely wonderful. That first half an hour, they were brilliant, Arsenal. It was a perfect performance. And then just sloppiness and just giving teams encouragement. The problem with that is, and I've been there, is that when you concede 2 goals, other clubs look at this and think, hang in there, or if they're 1-0 up or they're 2-0 up, we can get back at them. So just little things like that Arsenal just need to sort out. And obviously they've had a good week and they've got back on track. But there was a little bit of a niggle last night, me leaving the ground about it, in terms of, they've won well and it's been a good night for them. But that stupid little 10 minutes that Mikel Arteta will have taken to bed with him, I'm sure, as he goes to bed on a Saturday night after that match. But no, they've had a stop-start beginning to the season, haven't they? The sendings off, the injuries, dropping points, but they look like they're now, Ødegaard's back obviously, it looks like they're sort of getting into a position whereby it's a big week. They have to go and beat Manchester United, they have to go and beat Fulham, and then they have to look at Liverpool and think, right, okay, are you going to go and win at St James's Park? Are you going to go and win at Goodison Park in the last Merseyside derby? And obviously if Liverpool do, they'll still be 9 points. But they might be thinking if they win their 2 games, they could be 7 points at the end of the week, and that's a lot more achievable than obviously 9.
And all the things we say about Arsenal, we therefore have to say about Chelsea, who are neck and neck with Arsenal, and who've beaten Aston Villa comfortably today.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think that it feels too early for Chelsea. That's why I don't put them in, even though they're level on points. It doesn't feel that Chelsea will go and win it. And I still feel it's going to be Arsenal, if anybody, that can catch Liverpool at this moment in time. But, you're right. Chelsea are having a fantastic season. Maresca has got a stability there that, it's been difficult to find in the last couple of seasons. So well done to them today. I watched bits of that game earlier as I was mainly watching Manchester United to the left of me. We're obviously winning at Old Trafford. But, the Cole Palmer goal was absolutely brilliant, absolutely wonderful. Jackson, I'm happy for him. Last season, I remember us doing the podcast. I never thought the problem was Nicholas Jackson. I thought they might have to sign another forward. But I thought it was a really good second striker, Jackson, in the sense that if you had a number 9 that was Diego Costa and he was your man to come on, you'd think, what a good striker he is to come on. He's now actually pushing to the point where you're thinking, do we actually need that first striker? Could he be the first striker? I never really, I had a lot of love for him last year. Even though he was erratic, he's young and he made mistakes. We're now seeing a real handful up there, and someone I think who's if I was a centre half, I wouldn't want to play again. So Chelsea are doing really well, and well done to their manager for just bringing that sort of level of calmness to their club, because it's been mad and chaotic the last couple of seasons. A lot of money spent, a lot of players coming in and out, and now for the first time it feels like it's settled down. So well done to Maresca, well done to the players, and the owners will feel a little bit more calm, I think, at this moment in time. But I don't feel that they're there for the title. I don't sense it really.
Okay. Is there anything finally you'd like to say about a 4-0 Manchester United home win?
No, I mean, obviously it was a good win. I think coming back in midweek and winning, I think, Ruben Amorim will be happy. I mean, they're a long way off, no doubt about that. But they've gone up, I think, into the top half of the table. I think they're only 4 or 5 points off top 4, which is mad, really. But I don't think they're quite at that level yet to give anybody confidence that they can get there. The teams that are above them, particularly in the top 6, are well ahead of them in terms of performance levels. But I think he'll be happy at the end of his first week of matches.